So this is book 2 of our Hearts of Wulin trilogy. The first book was October's book, and it ended with the death of a horrible person, and certain other problems occurring to other characters, and some changes in lives, and so on. But much like any of these trilogy movies, you don't have to have watched the first one necessarily. Though there will be some of the characters returning, and we move on with their stories. We are taking place somewhere down the line. So if this is your first time checking in with this is a PbtA hack that I've written that attempts to emulate Chinese soap opera wushu TV series. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is the film touchstone that I use, that reference to the fact that these are characters that can't express themselves, that have a third person in their relationship. They can only talk obliquely about love and passion. And so this is a game of high melodrama. That is one of my goals, is every scene to be just on the borderline of cracking in some ways. But we still have martial duels, and Wulin and all of that kind of thing is present in these stories. Now, I love TV shows like Smiling Proud Wanderer and Handsome Siblings, and all of these shows, but they are super third hand. They are TV shows based on pulp novels from China, that in turn are based on sort of a fantastical vision of history. So we are fourth hand, and I am super white. So just realize that this is not a historical China. This is very much a drama, very, very fourth hand in that. This is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. You can also check out my channel if you're watching this for other sessions of this game, as well as dozens and dozens of others of different things that I have recorded there. And we do use the X card. That is the safety tool on the table. I know everyone here is familiar with that. Again, if something becomes problematic for you, if something seems to go wildly off tone for you, if something bothers you, you can use the X card. You can either do that visually, or you can do that in the chat, and we will try to edit past that. It's a very simple, basic tool. It's the one that I default to in these, just because we have a shorter amount of time. What you're going to see today, if you're watching this, is we're going to do character creation, which includes building entanglements, figuring out relationships between characters, kind of saying some things about the world and where we are. Then we'll take a break, and then we will roll into scenes today. So if you don't like watching character creation, skip forward an hour. There you go. Because sometimes I get comments on the video like, oh, that first hour. Yeah, it's character creation. I love it. Maybe not as much fun to watch. So we will revisit the factions that are on the table for the different characters, and figure out maybe how they've changed as well. We can make some decisions on that. Because we have 3 returning characters, I want them to give us just a quick 30-second pitch on who they are. I'm going to save Darren's character for last, because I have a very important question for him about his character. So Sherry, are you bringing back your character from last month, or are you doing something fresh?
Yeah, I think I am, because I kind of see her as long suffering, and so we have to pull that through that eye hole right there.
And give us the quick pitch on your character.
Okay, so Night Sky Ming comes from the Purity Sword faction, and her family has traditionally been the Night Guards for that faction. She herself has, because she is a Night Guard and raised in that, they have a lot of leisure time, so she has become a scholar of all of the lore of Night. And so she functions somewhat like a magistrate for her faction, but a very low level. Like, she looks into things and investigates, but she reports up. She is and aware, so she's supposed to be wise, but she's very young and inexperienced. And she's very loyal to her family. And her friends are a mess. They are all a mess.
Okay. And then Patrick, tell us about your character.
So I'm playing Jade Saberlon, who was an underachieving student in the Jade Brush School until he met a dying master on the road who had this engraved jade sword and a secret technique that he taught him how to use just before he expired on the side of the road. Lon came back and he had this amazing, like, chi-focused, destroying things in front of him power, but not a whole lot of control over it. And so between the pressures of the Jade Brush School to push him forward and the reappearance of someone who claimed to be his dead master's brother, and, well, actually was, but was also secretly evil. Not so secretly. I'm just really bad at seeing things. Anyways, a lot of things got to me. I learned some cursed techniques. I might have accidentally gotten accused of being a famous assassin in public. Had to run. Things are complicated. We'll figure out where things are now.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And finally, Darren, are you bringing back your character?
Absolutely.
Okay. So give us the quick pitch on Tian.
Oh man, Tian was a foolish boy who ran away from school because he just didn't like class, I think, and then got involved with a gang, as one does, and all of this culminated in trying to be a good friend and getting his arm cut off. So we have one arm Tian.
So that is my question here.
Yes.
So there are a number of options that you have because we've established that this is a world with a little bit of supernatural weirdness to it. Has your arm been restored to you? Has someone else's arm been restored to you? Do you have a prosthetic arm? Or have you learned to adapt and now you have, like the famous one-armed swordsman series of martial arts films, of which there are many, with an actor that actually did have two arms, so you can see that when you watch it. Have you learned new techniques to represent that style? What would you like?
Man, another person's arm is very good. But I think I've been thinking about one-armed Tian, so I think I'm going to keep him one-armed.
Okay, that works. That works. It's a classic element of these stories, so it makes good sense. All right. So I did leave your characters on. There's one characters tab, so you can bring those the stats and things and descriptors over. You will keep your XP, but we're going to reset bonds and factions and all of that kind of thing. So Sarah. On the CC1's Basics tab, we have the sort of the process that we're walking through for the character building. And you can do this in any order. We're going to go up to number 4. So look and name, style, chi, which are the stats, and then picking your playbooks there. So maybe I'll ask you if you've thought what you might want for your playbook and any decisions that you've been considering or questions that you have. You are muted.
So I've been watching a fair number of Korean dramas lately, and I kind of want to do, like, noble daughter is dressing up as a man to, like, defy her father.
Oh, that's perfect.
I'm not sure if that would be best for outsider, or probably not, actually. Could do loyal.
Yeah, because you could do either the swordsman or devoted child, I think would fit with that.
Where is swordsman?
That's a third one under loyal.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so there are subcategories.
Yeah. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick one of those playbooks, and then you'll pick one of those 3 roles, and that'll give you a special move. And then you'll get to pick, because you're coming in late, you can pick 3 moves from the list below. So, for example, Sherry is an aware scholar, and then Patrick is the outsider. Sorry, the unorthodox prodigy. And which one are you again, Tian?
I was a student, but I was gonna maybe switch to a Bravo.
Ooh, you're going to change playbook.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds cool. And I'll tell you a couple of things about this. You've played PbtA before, I know, Sarah. So let me talk a little bit about how this differs. One of the things is that we have these 5 chi, which are our stats. They're also our harm track in some ways, meaning that if I say mark chi, you'll mark a box, and then you can't roll with that chi anymore. This is a little bit like the Veil and some other games where, in like Fate Accelerated, where when you go to make a roll, generally you pick which stat you want to roll with, and to kind of define, what you're doing and how you're approaching it defines what chi you want to use, and you can lean into your fiction to get your better stats. The cost of that being that if you have to mark chi, if that's a consequence of a 7 to 9 or even a hard move, then you'll always mark the chi that you rolled with.
Okay.
The only option from that is you can mark wounded in the place of any one of those things. The only stat requirement is that once you've decided what stat is your element for your weapon style, for your fighting style, that's the one you will always roll with when you're fighting. And Patrick, you're going to change your chi around a little?
Yeah, I had realized that I wanted to play more with the uncertainty and destructive potential of his powers than my stat setup had me, because I was like rolling with advantage at a +2 for anything fighting related. So it was really hard for me to get a mid result, especially or not even speaking of a fail. So I'm sticking with metal as my style element. But I've changed my style to Jade Stormcloud style.
Ooh, interesting.
Because I think that what did he call it? The Tears of the Jade Buddha technique, which was actually the Stormcloud Assassin technique. I think that's like infected his mindset, and it's gotten into his ways of fighting, and he can't quite control it anymore.
Okay.
So his chi are changed around in general, but now his metal is a +0.
I like that very much. Sherry, are you making any significant changes I should know about?
No.
No. Okay. You were absolutely fine with Night Sky.
I still have moves I never got to use.
Okay. And if you need to, you're in that 4th column there on the character thing, and you can copy your stuff over to that.
I'm sorry. I think I blew away someone's picture because it ended up in my thing, maybe. Yeah. It was a lovely picture of a woman with a hat. So it might have been yours, Sarah. They move around really weird when people cut and paste.
It looks, mine is still where I put it.
Okay.
It may have been an artifact of the previous version because I moved some pictures down. It might have been one of those.
Okay, good. Then I don't feel so guilty.
I will say Google Sheets handles images so strangely. I'm gonna have to. Tian, are you gonna get a new name for your style?
Yeah, it's been modified a bit. I'm gonna keep fire, but yeah, gonna develop like a inner season montage of him figuring out how to use one arm.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna keep the hand fan though. The hand fan was really good.
Question.
Absolutely.
For the arrays of chi,
Mhm.
can we arrange these numbers in any order that we want, or?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
put those numbers in any order you want.
Cool.
Interesting. And Tion, don't forget that you start with some XP.
Oh, it's coming over?
Yeah.
Ooh. Like I had 7, all 7?
Yeah. I'm giving, Sarah's getting an extra move. So I'm putting, the new player will get that. So kind of keep people at the same parity.
Got it.
I like coiling ashes. That's very nice.
Got a good visual in my head. I'll see if I can get it across.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in that same order I just did, and I'm going to come and I'm going to follow up a little bit on those intros. And in particular, I'm going to ask about what moves you have, what your style looks like, what your element is, those kinds of things. And we'll get through our 3 returning, and then we'll come to Sarah to ask her those questions, to get her character on the table. And then we'll move to entanglements and getting that there. So for Night Sky Ming, why don't you tell us about Night Sky Ming's weapon of choice, what that looks like, and then give us a sense of what moves you have.
Well, she uses a classic sword, single sword, one-handed, and it is not a very particularly interesting sword. It's a guardsman's sword. She looks like a guardsman, so for the most part. And her moves are not particularly martial. So she has the scholar move, which means that when she does a study, she gets a little bit more information, provided that it's a certain kind of study. She has what's called final master. It means if she works out a plan with people, she rolls and gets hold that can be used to assist throughout that process as we try to carry out what we're trying to do. So it's a good thing if we stop and make a plan, but I think we only kind of managed that once, and even then, once. So, but that's okay. It made it all the more sweet when we did it. A storm rider, which means I can travel anywhere within a line of sight. I just kind of move like a blur and show up. Because she's a night guard, she's very pale. And since there's a little bit of supernatural in the game, she kind of, people startle and think she's a ghost right at that moment when she does that. So it tends to be a thing that she just startles people without meaning to. And then Savior of the Soul. I'm inexperienced, but somehow I'm alone, the voice of reason here. When you offer advice to another PC and they ignore it, you take a +1 ongoing during any attempts to bail them out of whatever they've gotten themselves into, which just seemed like the theme for the last time. So I made that purchase.
That does seem perfect with that. And the name of your style and what it kind of looks like.
Okay, so she really is, her style is very much based on wood, which is patience, growth, and curiosity. So she tends to go for a more indirect thing that's prodding and probing to find out what is going on and how to find their weaknesses and take advantage of those. So she's the initial strikes are going to be very much moving around, keeping herself safe while she figures out what's going on, taking some, trial hits to see what happens before she moves in for a definitive hit. And her style is called Star Slicing Blade.
Excellent.
So,
all right, let's come to Jade Saberlon. Tell us about your style, and then about your moves.
So his style.
What does it look like now?
Yeah, it all centers around that blade and him trying to master the sort of fear and uncertainty of using it and his complicated past with it. But he's more shaken. He's less sure of himself than he used to be. So there's a lot of moments of like eyes closed, deep breathing, sort of trying to get things under control. And when it's going right, there's just this sort of like beautiful directness to the style. It's very cutting, and there's like glints of green light and stuff that come off the sword and other things in the environment. It's sort of weird, but when it's going wrong, like it just gets louder and more destructive. Like every hit sounds like a thunderclap, and like he starts to lose his cool. It's like the style starts to take him over more than he's controlling it, and his anger sort of gets to him, I think. It's this battle between the different ways to use the style.
And your moves?
So I stuck with I have the prodigy move and the kid with the golden arm, which sort of tie into the same thing of he has a lot of power, but it can be dangerous to use. And the fearless fighters of I can keep fighting even with my metal chi marked. It just gets harder and harder. And then I picked up shadow boxing.
Okay.
Because like I know we haven't quite gotten into the factions yet, but I think he's not a part of the Jade Brush School anymore, or like the greater body or council or whatever has just decided to be quit with him.
No, that seems great. We know that Sherry is kind of a loyal member of the Purity Sword Sect. So having you kind of be estranged from Jade Brush, we can figure out how that all rolls out, especially since your master was killed last time.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, all right.
He's not my master. Anyways, the new move I picked up there was shadow boxing, which is that some secret group or order is out there aiding me. I definitely don't think I know about it, and I'm sort of waffling between like Bonecracker Non or some weird element of the Yoon clan, because we have a lot of like secret Yoon descendants around. The whole style and everything, the Jade Saber comes from the Yoon clan. I plan on trying to dig into and learn more about that.
That seems great. I'm looking forward to that. Which brings us to Tian, who is definitely of the 100 Ghosts now.
Yes.
One of the unrighteous factions. If we look on the factions and names list, we've got those examples. So we've got the ambiguous one, that's the Jade Brush. We've got the Purity Sword, that's the righteous, and then the 100 Ghosts, the unrighteous one. Just leaving that in there. So tell us about your new style.
Yeah, so Tian, after losing an arm, had to adapt, and he's now developed this style called Coiling Ashes, which still uses fire, but I think the idea is that it's very fluid, and it's meant to like dodge and work around attacks to get very close to the opponent, and then like have like decisive strikes at that point.
I like that.
You don't know ashes are hot till you touch them.
And and then what moves have you taken? You've changed your playbook, so I'm very curious about this.
Yeah, so I went with the thief archetype for Bravo. So I'm a little thiefy, but I have a criminal identity with a legendary name and then a foil. I'm very excited about this. I think the legendary name right now, tentatively 90%, is going to be the three-legged hound.
Hey.
And then I don't know about a magister or a foil. Well, I'm sure we'll come to that. And then
we have Magistrate Bao on the table. We can make him into your foil.
Oh, I was thinking he was gone for some reason. That would be really good.
Okay, yeah,
I'm seeing Tian as kind of like vindictive in a way, and that Siri just said hi. Yeah, very much like working against like the government.
Okay,
I've turned him into a communist agent. Sorry.
That seems very cool to me. Tell me about the moves besides the thief one that you have.
Yeah, so then I took It Takes a Thief, so I can slip from any restraint or pass through any door or window as if it were open. The slipping nature extends to attack and defense. My body moves elegantly to avoid attack so as not to wrinkle my outfit or spill my wine. And then Legend of the Fox. At a glance, you can pick out the wealthiest and most influential person in the room. And then setting in a formal or official setting, +1 hold, and then +1 forward for answers.
Very nice. Very nice. So let me ask you a question then about your sort of thief identity versus your public identity. Does your thief identity is it clear that that's a one-armed thief?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay. But of course, because your public identity is disguised, no one puts 2 and 2 together. That okay,
yeah,
that's the way it works. All right, thank you all. Let's come, Sarah. Let's have you tell us about your character.
Still filling in boxes.
Okay.
But yeah, she is the daughter of a noble family. Because one of the other characters is also a woman, so I'm wondering how she fits into the world. Like, is this accepted, what she's doing, or is it because like this is what her family has always done, so it's cool?
I like that. You could certainly have it that we've got, for example, some of these righteous and ambiguous goals that we haven't, like the Ox Pilgrim Escort Bureau, could be from them, but they don't let, they're very, women of position don't become warriors, that kind of thing. Yeah, we can build that.
Okay, yeah, so I would like it to be kind of like something she is doing in secret.
Absolutely. So Ox Pilgrim Escort Bureau, I imagine that they're very, very traditional, very restrained in this, and that the idea of having a daughter of their house out gallivanting about would send shockwaves through the house, right?
Okay, but like this is also probably all that I'm aware exists because I don't travel in like the darker circles.
That makes sense. And yeah, I mean, you're probably doing your stuff in the town or city that this is happening in. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, that works.
So what does she look like?
Well, I put a picture up, but that would definitely be like when she is at home.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a uniform that these people wear?
You tell me. I mean, do you imagine that they have a very plain outfit, or?
Yeah, if they're like a kind of escort guild, probably yes.
Okay.
So like nothing super fancy.
But the classic like shirt with maybe a little colored undershirt, sort of basic pants, that kind of appearance of the guardsmen traveling along. Okay. And tell us about your style. How do you imagine, what kind of weapon are you using?
Yeah, where are those again?
Oh, so on the factions and names tab, I've got the names of some factions and other names. And then on the basics tab, I've got the lists of some different kinds of weapons.
Okay, let's go with saber and sword.
Okay.
Or yeah, saber and sword.
Okay. Did you mention that she's using one in particular, or is she actually using a 2-weapon style?
The saber would be like the backup. Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm mostly using the sword.
That makes sense.
Let's see, weapon. Yeah, because I went earth and metal as her heaviest. So I think it's not about being quick. It's about doing as few strikes as possible to kill them as quickly as possible, or disable them, or whatever.
So, is earth or metal your dominant element for your style? Which is the one you associate with that?
I like metal more.
Okay.
Control, calculation, reflection.
So, is this a style of the Ox Pilgrim, or is this something you were taught from outside of that? Do you think?
She probably watched like the noblemen in and around her family, and that's more the style that they used, and then she adapted it according to the names, this escort service thing that she's a part of.
So we have a montage of you training at night in secret, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like there's probably one person who knows and like how to actually move, but we'll get to that.
Well, maybe we can figure that out in the entanglements here. That will be good. Tell me about the moves that you picked.
So strife for mastery. These are all kind of dependent on which role she's playing, but when you give an NPC an order based on an authority they recognize, roll... Oh, something got lost here. Roll something.
Oh yeah, it's always roll something. You choose. All the rolls are going to say that like that, yeah.
On a hit, they do what you say, get out of your way, attack you haphazardly, or freeze. On a 10 plus, pick one option they may not choose. I'm not quite sure what all these mean yet. And take one forward on a mismarked chi, and have someone important regard this as overstepping your place. Legend of the Mountain, when you defend someone or something from an immediate threat, roll. And on a hit, you keep them safe. On a 7 to 9, expose yourself to danger or escalate the situation. On a miss, they or someone else suffer worse for your efforts. And flying daggers, which I really like. You may burn a bond with someone to appear in their presence. Explain your dramatic appearance.
Yeah, and so bonds are things you're going to have with groups or with persons. You can establish them during play from the moves. You can spend them to do those things. You can also spend them after a roll to give yourself +1, essentially to burn a bond to give yourself a temporary benefit. All right. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go through and everybody's going to pick entanglements. And you'll see that's on the CC3 tab, entanglements. I've curated some choices based on playbooks. Everyone is going to pick one romantic and one general entanglement. And entanglements are essentially a triangular relationship, like I love X, but they love Y, is the classic relationship. So all of these have 2 blanks in them. Again, I'd ask that in at least one of the 2 relationships, in at least one, you include a PC. So everyone will have at least one entanglement that draws another PC into their web, as it were. And entanglements, again, are a strong source of XP during play when we get to the end of session moves. What we're going to do is we're going to go through in that same order that I've done. We'll here, and you'll pick one to do. And if you want to resolve or bring in another PC on them, you can offer that up to them. So so Sherry, are you ready? Could I hit you with the entanglement question?
I am not ready. I can choose other ones. So yes. I'm not ready.
Okay, let me give everybody a couple of minutes
Yes.
to look over the entanglements and see if you find things you like. If you don't see one in like your section of like the aware, romantic, or general, I've got the huge list of them off to the right-hand side. Get ready to flowchart this. And again, as a reminder, if anybody needs names, that is under the faction and names tab. We have lots of examples there. Some of them have been used, but there are still plenty that are left. I should probably X out some of these ones that have already been used.
I think I might have one.
Okay, well, we'll start with you then, giving Sherry a pass on this. There's a thumbs up from Sherry. Okay, so Patrick, do you want to start with your romantic or your general?
I'm going to start with romantic, which was difficult because I believe in love, but fate has not been kind thus far. So I'm going to make it a little less kind.
Okay.
So I love Tian. This is going to happen. He's going to remember that I exist someday. But my goddamn it teacher, Stormcloud Assassin, people just keep saying it, killed someone dear to them. So I think like after the reveal that Stormcloud Assassin was the secret master and this technique that has obviously infected me, it came back up that someone from Tian's past was killed by Stormcloud Assassin. I just don't know who.
Okay. Are you down with that, Tian? Does that seem good to you?
That seems great.
Okay. So some resentment. I mean, you were dragged into all of that misery. You lost your arm because of him, and oh, yeah, that's terrible.
So Darren, do you think you like blew up and had it out with me, or did Tian just like turn cold with no explanation?
That's interesting. I think that I just like turned cold because I think that like joining up with the 100 Ghosts was me like basically ignoring my entire past. And I'm just gonna go gallivant and do my thing and like act out, lash out. So
nice, I like that.
Awesome. Can I come to you then, Tian, for one of your entanglements?
Yes, you absolutely may.
All right. Which one do you want it to be, general or romantic?
Let me do general so I can ponder romantic a bit more.
Absolutely.
I want to do My clan senior blank suspects that my friend blank works against our faction.
Okay.
And I'm thinking my friend is Night Sky Ming.
Okay.
And then NPC for clan senior. Maybe their name is, I'm gonna do, Iron Face Lou. That's very
Okay.
good. My
So he's
clan,
one of the 100 ghosts.
yeah. My clan senior, Iron Face Lou, suspects that Night Sky Ming works against our faction.
Okay. And of course, your faction are kind of vaguely criminal, or maybe not so vaguely criminal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's see if Night Sky Ming truly does work against us.
But Ming is your friend, though, right?
I think so. We were good friends in book 1.
Yeah. That is kept up.
Maybe we still get tea occasionally. We go make origami once a month.
She's the only person in your life who has no sense of your roguish sides, oddly enough.
Yeah.
I also like the visual of you doing origami one-handed. I think that will be great on camera. So let's come to you then, Night Sky Ming. Let's have you do one of your entanglements. Do you want to do your general or your romantic, or unmute yourself?
It's all difficult for me. Let's see here. I think I don't know. Let's see here. I am still just completely out of it here. It's like I keep shifting around. I want to pull Sarah into it. So I'm looking for one that would make sense for that, where it's not too it. So you don't have to listen to me mumble around. You can move on to anyone else who has.
No, I'm gonna stay with you.
You are so cruel to me. Oh, okay. I discovered that my friend, and I'm sorry, it takes me a bit to get used to the awesome names here, so I'm going to check it out. Okay, so Dawning Rose. I discovered that my friend Dawning Rose, let's see here, has hidden their true power from me, but told someone else. So who else would you have told that we know? Let's see here. Someone who's going to be in the middle of everything here.
Another PC or a new NPC?
Yeah, maybe a new NPC.
I know, Sarah, you had mentioned that there was someone amongst the Ox Pilgrim Escort Bureau that did know. Do you have a name for them?
Not yet.
Yet? Sherry?
I will pick a name and we can decide if that is that person or another person. So let's see here. There are so many good names. How about Rivaling Torrent? Does that sound good?
Sure. Yep.
Why would you not confess to Rivaling Torrent? This is my question.
So Sarah, do you imagine that Rivaling Torrent is a male, a female, someone from your clan, or an outsider?
If they're the person who's been teaching me how to fight properly, probably male from the Ox Pilgrim Escort Bureau. If that's all right with Sharon.
It is. And this would have been like a friend that we both held. So essentially the three of us at one point would have been very tight. So okay.
Okay.
What social class do you imagine this person or him? These things matter.
Yeah, I think like you're like actually way high up in the in Ox Pilgrim.
I don't know
Whereas
about if I'm super high up in with the Ox Pilgrim.
your family is, excuse me.
Yeah.
Your father is an august member and one of the leaders, whereas Rivaling Torrent and myself are the guards for our respective faction.
That
So
is
essentially,
super interesting.
okay. So essentially, we are very lowborn, but we are your friends, and that is, yeah. And we will be looked upon as the corrupting influence, by the way, when all of this comes down.
Yeah, because
So-
my father doesn't know that I'm part of the Ox Pilgrim Escort Bureau.
Okay. I like that. That gives us some stuff to work with there. So Rivaling Torrent, a friend, connection between Dawning Rose. So Dawning Rose, I'm going to have you now pick a romantic or a general entanglement. Which one do you want to do first?
Let's go with romantic. I was thinking this anyway, but let's make what was the name? Something Torrent.
Rivaling Torrent.
Rivaling. Let's make Rivaling Torrent my romantic connection.
Okay. And what's the entanglement here?
There is mutual unrequited love between Rivaling Torrent and I because of my duty to my family.
Okay.
Family.
Do you imagine that you do you have like male siblings that are your age?
I don't think I do.
Okay.
Maybe not. Well, if she has siblings, they would probably be brothers.
Okay.
And maybe a little older.
Okay.
She's like seen the freedom that they have.
That makes sense, and certainly they would be offended. They probably know Rivaling Torrent. Rivaling Torrent is probably a friend of theirs, right?
Yeah, they're like next to my father. They're the people I would like least to know what's actually happening.
Absolutely. And you and Rivaling Torrent would be in so much trouble if they found out that he had taught you this. All right. That sounds perfect. That brings me back to Jade Saber Lan. You did your romantic. Do you want to do another romantic or do you want to do general?
You sure there aren't like 5 more people to go before I have to choose?
No.
Mean.
Well, I'll give you a minute because I actually have to diagram this out on my whiteboard here. We're doing that. Okay. So that is Rose Main. And then okay, you got one?
No!
How much time do you think has passed? Has it been a year? That's often a good round figure, or has it been less than that? Longer than that?
I think a year sounds good.
Okay.
It's enough time for like the last book to be solidly in the past and like we're all living different lives now. Except for Nice Guy Ming. She's just herself.
what else is there to be? That's my duty.
I think I'm having problems because I don't have clan or family at the moment.
That's a good thing. But you are certainly, keep in mind that you don't have necessarily an attachment, but you do have, in the sense that you don't belong to them, but you are someone who left them, and that they may not be happy with that. That there may be people from that have a certain degree of resentment, or even old friends from the clan who still respect you. And remember that you'll get a chance to, you can rewrite entanglements between sessions too. I'm going to jump on to a poke at, since you were generous enough.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. You jumped into Jerry, so you took the hit first. What about Tian? Tian, do you have a sense of what you might want for your second entanglement?
Yes, I'm
What
thinking
one?
I'm just trying to think of the best way to frame it, though. So I would also like to get some entanglements with Jin. And I've been trying to find a really clever romantic one.
Okay.
Well, I was going to do one for you, a general one, if that helps.
What's your general one?
I was going to do... I swore to Nightwing Ming that I would protect Tian, but they would be offended if they knew.
Oh, that's probably very true. Oh, okay. I like that. If I can springboard off of that.
That's perfect. You okay with that, Night Sky? Okay.
Oh, let's see. Okay. You're into rivaling towards? Is that the name of the one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, rivaling towards.
And poor sedate Rao. He was at the center of all these romances last time, and now he's just cast to the side.
Well, prison changes a man, you know. Man, I can't decide.
So keep in mind that you also think I am a man.
Right. I'm into it. I think my stipulation is that with that is I don't want it to be like a gender gotcha. So regardless, I don't really, presentation or not, I'll be into you. The feelings are truer. Okay, I'm just gonna go with it. I really like this.
Okay.
I want to do blank openly pursues me, but to avoid scandal, I've hidden my relationship with Jin. And maybe this is less romantic, right? Because I don't think Jin and I have like a romantic relationship, but maybe I'm thinking that Jade Saber Lan pursues me, right? Openly pursues me. So maybe there's just a big misconception here that if Lan sees me with Jin, Lan will just presume that we are in a relationship.
I like that. How do you think of that? Is that good with you, Jade Saber?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay.
And I think that I am into Jin, so that's my angle here.
But Jin may not be completely aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because you're kind of, you're an outsider, yeah?
Yeah.
And like, I would be very aware that like, even if we, station-wise, we are not a good match.
Right.
Excellent. Yeah. And it fits perfectly given that you have the whole thing of being able to mix with high society with a bonus. When you put on your particular airs. You're both in disguise in some ways.
Yeah.
on
Maybe
that.
this could work out really well.
Or
just
terrible.
we just got to get rid of that pesky rivaling twins.
Which brings us, I believe, then to Night Sky Ming for your other entanglement, and then we're going to come to Jade Saber. What's your romantic, Night Sky?
Oh, jeez. Well, I think what I want to do is bring Magistrate Bao back into it as a spoiler for me as well.
Okay.
So, and then of course you made me feel sad for Sedate Rao. So, so how about like a prophecy has kept Sedate Rao and I apart, and Magistrate Bao is determined to keep it that way.
And do you think here prophecy is actually maybe like order from the clan elders kind of thing?
Yep. The prophecy was, you'll be in so much trouble.
State Rao gets out and with none of his doing that he was framed, and he gets out, and his fiance has run off to be with the bandits, and the other woman who he was had a good friendship with is maybe a little more distant, but there, and the family clan has forbidden this because you only get him in trouble. You're a terrible person.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, because of course we embarrassed Magistrate Bao by being the ones who brought the Stormcloud assassin, the actual Stormcloud assassin, to justice.
And of course, Stormcloud assassin is in hot. The Magistrate Bao is in hot pursuit of the three-legged hound. Patrick, I'm going to come back to you.
Okay, I'm just gonna go for it. Gonna destroy other people's backstories. Ha! Take that. Entanglement grenade.
Boom.
So I've discovered that my sibling, Night Sky Ming, has been learning techniques from blank, master of an enemy clan.
Ooh. So, but Night Sky is your sibling.
Separated at birth, secret thing.
Iron Face Lou.
We sort of know off camera that Night Sky is secretly part of the Yun clan. I think that puts me as secretly part of the Yun clan, which makes sense with the whole Jade Saber thingamajigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And who is the third person in that then?
All these difficult questions.
It's the master from the enemy clan, Iron Face Lou.
Oh, I sort of like that.
Entangle me.
Yeah.
Okay, so read that out to me.
Oh, let me try this again. So I've discovered that my secret, unknown, heretofore sibling, Night Sky Ming, has been learning techniques from Iron Face Lou, master of an enemy clan. Because everybody's trying to soak up the remnants of the Yun clan.
So, is that cool with you, Night Sky?
Yeah, I think that I would be learning it because something about the style was familiar with something I've learned already, and so I want to continue in that vein. Does that make any sense? Because I think the last time when he learned his Stormcloud assassin thing, he recognized some of my style elements in there. So I think there's a whole sort of continuum from the Yun clan that
Let me ask you this then. When you're learning this from Iron Face Lou, do you know that Iron Face Lou is a member of 100 Ghosts?
Oh, goodness, no.
Okay.
Nice.
Absolutely not.
I realize this may have unintentionally complicated the original entanglement I chose. My clan senior Iron Face Lou suspects that Night Sky Ming works against our faction. But
no, that we can work with that.
okay. I was going to say
I think he's training her.
There's a really similar one that also works well. But if you're cool with that, I'm cool with that.
I mean, do you want to make the changes? Nothing's set in stone.
Well, let me read the other one and we'll see.
Okay.
Because I'm cool with like a very complicated relationship. But the other one is maybe we'll say my friend Night Sky Ming speaks ill of me, but my mentor strangely ignores the situation. I guess that one's kind of weird. Now that I read it out loud.
Okay. Well, let's go with the first one.
Yeah, let's just ignore me.
All right. So with all of that in mind, we've got those entanglements on the table. Everybody should choose one of your fellow PCs that you have an entanglement with and put a bond with them. Write their name on the line that says bonds fellow PC. And then choose a faction that you've interacted with, they have mentioned in the entanglements, and put a bond with them. And again, these bonds are about kind of drawing on their hope or the psychic energy. When you burn a bond, you're not severing the relationship. You're just using that a force to move forward. All right. So we're going to take about a 10-minute break. Okay. We're going to come back at 20 after, because I'm going to need that to figure out where we're going to start with all this. And if anybody has any questions when we come back, we'll hit those and then we'll get rolling. All right. All right. Take 10.
I'm curious what this mess looks like this time. What sort of strange arcane symbol have we formed?
Let me add in those last little bits here. Okay, so that's that. Okay, let's start over here. Okay. Okay. Already got that. That's why I whiteboard this.
Are you there, Sherry?
She's not back quite yet. She was eating an everything bagel, so she will have to rinse. Told, Ming, told, okay. And then Ming, magistrate. Date. Tian. So that's what it looks like.
It's much less elegant than last month's.
Yes.
Last month's was just this big spiral in around.
Yeah. Very Uzumaki, drilling down to the center of things here.
This is some sort of complicated war plans.
All the one-shots were also super involved. A lot of cross connections. Okay, and let me see here. So I did rearrange some of the moves. I've got those. You saw I eliminated a couple of the basic moves, changed some things out. So Sarah, we have essentially the dueling moves. When you fight someone, we figure out whether they're on your scale, above your scale, or below your scale. If they're below your scale, you're going to beat them. We know that. If they're on your scale, there it becomes a question. If they're above your scale, you're going to lose. The question is how badly you lose and how much control you have over narrating that. The other big one is inner conflict. Inner conflict is pretty much our Monster Hearts move that we've brought over, that when you're confronted by emotional turmoil from your entanglement, if it starts to really push on you, that's the point at which we have you make the inner conflict move to see if you can handle it, if you can stand your ground, or if you have to flee, or something worse happens. So I'd say those are the big ones. I should also note that our study move is more open-ended than the other sort of informational moves from other PbtA games. Essentially, you can frame the question how you want. You can model that on other games if you want. It also includes the ability to reveal a detail by spending hold. And what that is like, if you want to say something dramatically plot changing and establish it as a fact, you can do it with that move. And my example of that is Fraser in the midst of one of the games when he was studying his sister. He decided that he was going to reveal that she had been trained by a secret cult of assassins. And that completely changed the game from that point forward. So yeah, you can bring big changes into the fiction with that one. And then the comfort or support move is the way that you help other people clear chi to get them set. It's also a way to build bonds. If you roll well, you can help yourself. But basically on a hit, you can clear other people's problems. So let us begin. So we're a year down the road, and we're back in the city. And much like 90% of the Wulin movies that I've seen, we never put a name to the city. It is simply the city that they are in. And right now, there are Wulin warriors arriving, various wushu masters and things, because the Ox Pilgrim Escort Bureau, they are celebrating essentially the birthday of one of the eldest of the heirs to the clan. I'm sorry, they not the Ox Pilgrim, but the I want to go back to Jin's family. Sort of outside of that is celebrating the ascension of one of their eldest to this, and to celebrate this as a public display, they are sponsoring a tournament. So a lot of people have come. Essentially, very, very, a chance to show off your skills, to perform, to win prizes, and to win acclaim and fame within the Wulin world. So people are excited. The city is crowded. It is a festive atmosphere. And I want to start with two paired scenes and kind of move them in parallel to do this, and maybe then we'll kind of bring people together. Again, I'm going to hard frame a little bit to start us out. So let me ask you, Ming and Jin, how is it that you two knew each other growing up? What would you imagine that relationship was? Since you're sort of peers in age, you're a guard, you're an elegant lady. How do you imagine that came about?
I imagine that probably what it was is when we were children, it was rivaling Torrent's family and my own that knew each other because they were both, I mean, he's like the caravan guard, they're the gate guards. They knew each other. And they probably, I would imagine that they played together and they had an awesome good time. And that was, and when Jin wanted to play, that was definitely the best place to go to. But we, even as little kids, we knew that she was special and that we had to treat her carefully and all of those things. So she was, but
people would probably come and like pretty frequently to drag me back.
Exactly.
Clean you up, change the clothes, all of that kind of thing. Anytime you get a little bit dirty, scowling looks.
So we grew up like in the same. We're all in the same city, yeah?
Yeah. Same city and probably like the same section of the city, but you had a lovely house and we were merely, we worked at those houses in some ways.
So let me ask you this, Jin. In your, what is the name that you have in your, male identity versus your female identity? Is there different names there?
Well, let's see. These names are so similar for both genders.
Mm-hmm.
She's not super creative.
Okay.
When she's dressed as a man, she goes by Lynn.
Perfect.
And she thinks this is super clever.
It's a whole different character. It's perfect. So if you were out, in the town, having maybe, would you be in your and essentially with Night Sky? Would you be in your a Lin identity or your Jin identity?
Depends on what we're doing, I think, because her family is fairly well regarded, right?
They're well regarded. They are guardsmen. She's had a bit of trouble of late, but she seems to have gotten over that. She was cleared of all charges.
Okay.
So
we would only go out at like the proper hours to the proper places.
yeah. So are you? Do you think? Do you imagine that you are out traveling together, in a formal way, or are you out slumming it a little bit and doing exciting things with Ming right now?
Given what is happening in the city right now, it would need to be formal.
Okay.
Like my family couldn't afford any less than perfect things happening right now.
Absolutely. Ming, what is it that what is your interactions with? How do you hold yourself when you're interacting with Jin?
Well, definitely when Jin, and here's the thing is Jin, when she is, her family's precious daughter, Jin, I'm very careful with her. It's almost like from childhood when we had that very childish understanding that she was special and we had to be very careful with her and stuff. That still holds on even as an adult. And so even though formally all of that respect and care is required, there's still that childish sense of it, of like wanting to keep her in a bubble, but also wanting her to have fun, for her to be delighted. Does that make any sense? And so she's your guard, but she also like kind of goofs around. So, things are funny and stuff like that. She shows off a little. She gives you room to, I should say, not be seen if you don't want to be seen. All of those things. She spoils you a little.
Sounds good.
And so we pick up with the two of you having been out to the market, to the fair during the day, being you've kind of been ignored because all the shopkeepers and things want the attention of Jin's house, and you've gotten lovely free samples and things like that, and you've been treated well throughout, and it's been a joy. It's been fun, all kinds of decorations and things, and perhaps you've lost track of time a little. So dusk has fallen sort of before you've even realized it. And it's that kind of twilight hour where you're like, uh-oh. And you've headed back to Jin's household and maybe gotten a little bit mixed up about direction when you're doing this, because it's that, it's when the light is kind of not dark, not full light. And the two of you have moved down between these buildings, and you're passing through a courtyard of like what would be like a block of houses, heading through this, and you will see and hear this person laid out on the cobblestones. They are groaning and dragging themselves there. And no one seems to be helping them. What do you do?
I definitely step in front of Jin.
Yeah, I can't touch this.
Exactly. So, but I will kind of, to Jin, and I will go to check to see what's going on, since I am a guard after all. And I will say, what is wrong?
And this figure kind of turns. He has all of the sort of the cosmetic bruises on his face, as well as the cuts across his clothes from multiple sword wounds, and the blood is red there. And he's kind of trying to hold himself together, but he's clearly been attacked and looks in very bad shape.
Well, then I will, of course, immediately reach down to speak to him to find out what he needs or who has done this to him. And that's probably what she says. Who's done this to you?
He says, they seek seek the book. They seek the book. And Jin, you can see the blood that's on the stones here. You see Ming bend down to help this gentleman. But even as that happens, you will see come around on the other side this courtyard. You'll see this gentleman. He has a scar that goes from up here straight across down to here, like half of an X, like a slash of a scar across his face. Even, of course, has a strategically, he's got dark hair, but there's a white a flock in it that sort of seems to carry the scar up across. And he has a group of like mooks behind him, and he looks and he sees the person who's on the ground, sees Ming there, and he holds his sword out and says, "There he is." What would you do, Jin?
Call out for, is it Min or Ming?
Ming.
Ming? I'll call out for Ming first. Just quickly. Ming.
All right. And she looks up, looks to you and then looks up and sees the other one and sort of steps between that guy and the guy with the sword and gestures for Jin to move away.
How crowded is this area?
You've got some space here. I mean, it is a courtyard between these houses. People seem to be absent right now, or they've shuttered themselves in knowing that something's going on.
Okay, so no one would see this.
That's correct.
Okay.
And this figure steps forward and he says, "You will leave if you know what is good for you."
And she goes, "Sir, it is you that has drawn blood on our city streets. You are the one that needs to be brought to justice."
Says, "It's not the last of the blood I'm going to draw today." And they begin to move forward, and I'm going to cut there to Tian. The city, this is a ripe opportunity for you. Merchants, travelers, all kinds of things, people showing off their finest wares. This is the hour of the three-legged hound, with all of these kinds of people around and about, and you are very excited. So, what kind of place do you imagine you've been casing?
Oh man. So this is going to be this tournament, and I imagine there's like this outdoor space and all these like tents and temporary structures put up. So I think that there's been this like there's like a royal silk producer or something like that who's been like churning out these beautiful silks in all these different colors to like string about the city and this open space. So I think maybe we've been casing that place.
Okay. Moving around through there, this is a good place to hit. They're kind of, they're trying to grab the attention of the empire, but they're also trying to grab the attention of Jin's family, and they're all, showing off and being very ostentatious, and they're ripe for the picking, as it were. At the same time, Jade Saber Lan, what has drawn you back to the city?
I think there's got to be someone here that, like, I suspect knows more information about the Yun clan. Some bit of information that I'm hunting down.
Yeah, so we see that you've reached the end of your researches out there. You've trained yourself a little to come back. We see you maybe a little more road weary. There's just strategic, bits of dirt on your face to show that you've been traveling, and you've come back because, of course, the good thing is there'll be all these people here that will help provide a certain amount of cover. Though there are people that you do want to see, right?
There are people that I'd like to see, but there are a lot more people that I wouldn't like seeing me. I think I'm still worried about outstanding accusations and fallout from the Jade Brush School. So I can see like going to try and get new clothes, a new outfit made that'll give me that sort of like high class free pass sort of thing, where if I just look like I have enough money and belong, most people won't look twice.
And it is dusk. It is evening, and you are moving a little more cautiously as you go through here. Again, not wanting to be seen before you can get that costuming up. And you will come across. It is empty right now, but it is the grounds where they've built these risers of wood, and they've built a tournament space out here in the public area. A ways away, and there are the banners and so on, and you're kind of crossing.
And I was just gonna say, I think like as I'm coming around, like I touch the back of the stands of seat or whatever, and there's just this like nostalgic sort of memory moment where we flash back to like weird tinted scenes from his demonstration in the middle of the Jade Brush School, and like Daughter Bird exploding under the storm cloud assassin technique and going flying backwards, and he just shakes. And
we use the same footage.
It's just
the same footage, and we drag it out for a minute so that we see the whole thing, and it helps get the running time filled. But you will see, as you come across, you will see this figure, this woman in dark red clothes, and she has a group of women with masks. Essentially, they have the veils across their faces, and they are doing that thing where they're doing the sort of the walking, taunting. There's a person who's on the ground in front of them that they've clearly attacked and wounded, and they're playing with their prey in that way, where that person is trying to get away, and this leader woman, piercing eyes, jet black hair, but a whole series of like 10 hairpins, almost like a spine of the hairpin, long hair ponytail going down her back, and then these figures, and they are clearly going to kill this person. Do you want to get involved?
So I think like Lon, he like makes an instinctive move towards it, but then he looks down at himself and looks around very nervously, and tries to walk past it. But I think maybe like just as he's getting up, even where he would just be going past and ignoring this, like there's some cry from the person on the ground.
Mercy, help me, sir.
And it's just this like, and he'll step forward. He won't like pull out a sword or anything, and he's trying not to be threatening, just like solid. And he's going to try and stand in between the group and the person on the ground.
And we cut the camera cuts over, and we can see then you, Tian, who have been seeing this scene play out, and you're like just trying to decide whether you should get involved, and then it's Jade Saber Lon, and you see him kind of walk across the tournament grounds here and walk close, and you see him stop. What do you do, Tian?
And can I add one thing just to
Sure,
make it a little
absolutely.
more? Before I go over to them, just to make myself seem as unthreatening and I'm not coming in to attack them as possible, I'm gonna lay down my pack, and the like light catching sheathed jade saber is like sitting there on top of the pack and sort of off in the shadows.
What do you think, Tian? He's unarmed, and this is clearly, some sort of Wulin lieutenant and a group of mooks.
I can't believe that mook, Jade Saber Alon, would show his face in the city again. And I'm gonna fucking like slide down some silks and like confront him. Maybe try to attack him. Who knows? I'm gonna make a scene.
Okay, so you land, and we see you actually, rather than confronting these villains, you land and confront. What do you say?
God, what do I say? I think I just say that. I think I say, Jade Saberlon, how dare you show your face in the city again?
Tian, I wasn't intending to run across. I didn't mean not
Wow.
here for long.
Your love just called you out right in the middle of things here. Did not expect to see him so soon. I wonder if this goes to the level of an inner conflict roll right out of the gate for you.
I think it probably does, because there's that thing of like, I need to run away and not be a part of this, but also like I could save this poor defenseless person from this whole pack of Wulin people in front of Tian, and like that would be impressive.
Let's have you roll inner conflict. What do you want to roll with?
I think this is. We'll see how his caution plays out here.
Okay. We've got
Earth.
Got the roll for your party there.
Good Lord, there are a lot more colors.
They add more colors? Oh yeah, holy cow. Khaki.
I chose turquoise. Wow, that's an 11.
So yeah, you hold yourself together. Despite this, you hold yourself together, and you stand strong in the face of Tian's spat accusations at you. What do you say?
Surely you can see, Tian, that there are more pressing matters than our own personal feuds. This poor innocent on the ground is being attacked, unarmed, by people in the street.
Yeah, wait, I don't know what I want to say. It's something like, I think Tian just kind of like sizes you up, but then you're right, because I'm not a bad guy. I think I'm like, hopefully we won't talk later, Jade Saberlon.
Says the woman. And swords come out.
Just not reacting to the swords. What grievance do you have with this poor person?
That is none of your business, and your silence will be appreciated. And she moves forward to engage. She clearly means the silence of the grave. So I'm going to cut away from you two. Let's come back to the courtyard scene. This fellow has his blades out. His thugs are moving forward. They're trying to, come around, maybe try to pincer you in. So, yes.
I would like to just draw myself up and like make myself as visible as possible and tell them my family is quite important in this city. I'm quite important in this city. Do you know who you stand before?
Ooh, interesting. Well, I think that you've got a great move for that, right?
I do.
What do you want to roll with?
And it's anything I want.
Yeah.
Right?
What do you think is appropriate? Remembering that if you fail, that's probably the chi that's going to get marked.
Okay. I think Earth is most applicable here. Presence.
Let us have you roll.
Okay, so I roll with the number of dice that I have.
So you roll 2d6 plus and add whatever you. Yeah.
Okay, so 4.
Well, what is your Earth?
I have 2 in Earth.
Okay, so you roll 2d6 and then add 2 to that value.
Oh,
yeah,
gotcha.
You will see Patrick pull out 3 dice, but that's because he's got a freaky character.
And they, yeah, there you go. Good.
That is a 5 plus 2 is 7.
All right. So let me look at your move here. On a hit, they choose what to do. Do what you say, get out of your way, attack you haphazardly. I think that the mooks are going to freeze. Like they're uncertain now. Maybe the stakes have gotten a little higher than what they wanted, and they do freeze, and you do kind of hold them in place. But their leader is going to move up onto Ming. So Ming, you're relieved, maybe a little bit worried that Jin has engaged and has the mook's attention, which might not be the best thing. But definitely this scar-faced individual is coming up to move onto you, to duel you.
All right. So the first thing I want to do is make a study move to know what his scale is.
All right. Go ahead and roll study.
Oh, that's right. You had to roll for this. Ugh. Unfair. Well, this is a problem, of course. All of my. I probably will roll with water.
Okay.
Okay, so roll in the top 2.
Okay.
As soon as I can get them selected. Come on, there we go. So that's an 8.
So you get 1 hold.
All right, I have 1 hold. And do I know his scale?
You're actually relieved that she's got the attention of the mooks, because you expect that if they were coordinated together, they might be a higher scale than you, because they do look like they maybe have some training, but he himself alone is on your scale.
All right. Awesome then. Then essentially I draw myself up higher. And I sort of give him a smile and say, well, then let's do this.
All right. Let's have you roll, and then I'll have you to tell me what this looks like.
All right. I hate these rolls. Okay, so yeah, I'm using, I know, I'm using wood. So again, let's see here. Okay, so I got an 8 plus 2 is a 10.
So tell me what that looks like. He comes in, he's got, one of those big wide blade sabers. It's got the ring on the back of it. There's that set of those as a kind of a sword catcher thing. And he comes in and swinging at you with that. What do we see from you?
And essentially you see her stop his blade and take, essentially she takes some feints to see how he reacts. She catches him as he kind of goes into this other guy to take a stab at him. And he thinks he's going to when he goes to do that, thinking that he'll be able to get away with that, that's when she has her opening. And she pretty much just, as he's leaning forward, she slides her sword in under his arm, right through his torso.
So it doesn't sound to me like you're showing mercy.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
We have mooks to question.
So you go and shunk, and there's that look on his face. The eyes go open as the sword goes into him, and he begins to teeter and fall. Jin, these mooks look shocked. Do you want to, push them to leave, to flee? What would you like to do?
I would like to. Your master, or your master is dead. Will you? I think I'd like to bring them to my family, or someone of authority.
Oh, okay. You want to get them to surrender?
Yes.
Okay. So I think we're going for a slightly different thing. So I think this is going to be another role with your strive for mastery here.
Okay.
You stopped them from attacking, and now you want to get them to surrender.
Earth again.
Sorry,
this is a different move.
Choose.
Okay. That is a 4 plus 2 is 6.
So they will.
You can burn a bond.
Oh, yes. Shh. You can burn a bond to make that a 7.
Yeah. Do you have a
I
bond
have
with
a
me?
have a bond with Night Sky Ming.
Okay.
All right, yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So you burn a bond, that'll take it to a 7. Let's see. So that gives them a choice of things there. I think you already froze them, so I don't think that option for them to attack you haphazardly. I will say this, that one or two of them like stay like they're freaked out because they've seen their boss get taken out, and at least a couple of them do stay, but the others take off. Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
For mixed success? Like you've got a couple of them, and there's that moment where they look back to their buddies, like, okay, let's attack her, and they realize that the rest of them aren't here, and that they're in a very bad position. So I'm going to cut away from that, and this woman with the hairpins looks at the two of you, sees that you have no blade, Jade Saber, and gestures for the mooks to attack you, and she leaps to engage Tian. So Jade Saber, what do you want to do?
So I think he would prefer to avoid picking up the Jade Saber right now.
Okay, yeah, you can still fight bare-handed, absolutely.
Yeah, and so I was thinking that since my style weapon is sword, and they're using swords, thankfully, like it's very much I'm sort of fighting by knowing what they're gonna do.
Okay.
And so yeah, I'm trying to like time myself to spin and duck under and between their swings and get in close enough to like break their grip on the swords and start disarming and taking them out.
And you're a prodigy, so if you wish, you can choose to roll those 3d6 and take the two highest, or if you want to, because you're not using your blade, I'll let you just roll 2d6.
And that's sort of what I was going to ask. I think that I think that's what I feel like fits here.
Okay, because you don't want to do that extra collateral damage, right? Okay, because you could destroy the tournament grounds if you really did that. So
I could destroy the tournament grounds. I could just attract a lot of unwanted attention in other ways too. Yeah, it's not a. Okay, but this will still be my style.
Yeah.
Chi. Okay, gotcha.
Style chi with 2d6.
So here we go with my good choice of +0.
I know.
But that's an 8.
Okay. So on an 8, these are mooks. So when you fight a mooks are collectively scale, you defeat them, and tell us how you do so. You don't look like super awesome like you would have on a 10 plus, unless you want to burn a couple bonds to look super cool.
I don't think I want to burn both my bonds right now just to look cool.
Okay. So tell me what that looks like. It's a little more workmanlike, and describe what we see on screen.
Yeah. So it would work fairly well if there weren't just like, how many of them did you say there were? Like 5, 6? Oh, a dozen. Yeah. If there weren't so many, because I can focus on the few sort of in an angle and deal with them fairly well. But people keep getting in like cheap shots from behind, as I'll get like superficial cuts like on my arm there, or I'll just barely manage to dodge a blow and get across the cheek.
Okay.
Barely manage to dodge a blow and still get hit by like the pommel of the sword and things like that. But after like a minute or two of really taking the worst of it, I managed to get my first break in, like disarm someone, use them as a shield to knock down a couple more of them and kick their swords away. And then it's like this slow changing of the odds, so that by the end his travel worn clothes, they look even worse. He's bleeding from a number of cuts, but not heavily, and I think like a black eye.
All right, you're going for the sympathy angle here. I like this. All right.
Yeah.
Tian, even as your friend engages and starts with the mooks, this woman leaps up and she produces these paired daggers and begins to stab at you. And you'll hear her laugh as she realizes you have but one arm, and she puts away one of her daggers.
A fool. Yeah, I'll just say something like that. That like, you I can't think of the word. You under. I completely lost my vocabulary. You
underestimate.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. You underestimate me.
Or you underestimate me, and she starts coming in with a fat series of slashes at you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna engage her. It's like,
Okay.
I got my fan. It's not even folded out yet, but I'm just like ding 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 ding. Well, hopefully, I guess we'll
Yes.
see with the roll.
So she's on your scale.
Yes.
So this is questionable. Let's have you roll.
Fire is 1. Yeah. Oh my god, I got a 6.
Got a
I'm
6.
burning a bond. I can't start this way.
Are you sure?
Yes, I want to win.
Okay.
Blonde can't outdo me.
So when you are going to win the conflict, but you need to make a choice about that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting, though.
Do you want to win at a cost?
Yeah, I'm just running at a cost.
So tell me what you do. How do you force her to decide that she needs to get away? Like she needs to run. What happens?
I think that we're just going back and forth, and I'm just parrying and blocking. But then I think I just get an advantage where I can like lean in and turn the momentum against her. And when she stumbles, I do this thing with my like hand fan where I like barely open it and like grab her blade and like throw it.
And she comes back. She realizes the blade is in her shoulder, and she looks and she sees that most of her crew are down. And she'll look around, and she does that thing where she does the hoop, and suddenly she's out of frame. And then we see her on top of the risers, and she says, "I'll remember this," and she's gone with the dagger stuck in her. So she is. And now both of you can catch your breath here. And I'm going to come back to you in a second. Have that conversation. Nice guy Ming, this person is skewered on your blade and laying dead now. And Jin seems to be, using her authority. Have you ever seen her do this before?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to some extent, like we've always been friendly and we've always been in a unthreatening circumstance. So this has never come up. So to some extent, she's sort of pulling her blade out of this guy, but her attention is more on Jin because it's something that she hasn't seen. And so she does this. And she very quickly walks over and essentially, grabs the collar of those two guys, and then goes over to a door and pounds on it and says, "Go get the doctor."
Jin, what are you doing? You muted.
If Ming has the two people, yeah, okay, so I would. And she's also summoning a doctor.
Looks like she might be heading to call for help here.
Yeah. But the person she's talking to can handle that. I don't need to bother myself.
Right.
I'd go to the person on the ground the original injured guy? Is he still alive?
He is on his last breath here.
Okay. So go over to him, like gather like the hem of my dress so it doesn't get bloody, and kneel beside him.
And he reaches up his hand and he goes to grab a hold of your hand.
Yeah, I give it to him.
And
Take it.
he puts something in your hand, and then there's the and he falls dead.
There's no need for a doctor.
And we can see the camera kind of pans in on your beautiful pale hand, but now there's some blood on it, and you will see there is what looks like some sort of medallion, but it's only half of a medallion that is sparkled with blood.
Half like it was made with a second piece, or like it was broken?
Yes, like it was made with a second piece that would fit together with it.
All right. Yeah. Wipe it off on his clothes.
Okay.
And put it in my pocket.
And
or my little bag.
Yeah, this seems like the perfect time that we would actually hear the sound of running, and we would see rivaling Torrent with a couple of his people coming running along, and they would look and they would see you.
I've like pulled back when I heard the footsteps, and like I'm looking significantly more shaken. I'm just like.
And rivaling Torrent's like, Jin, are you all right? You had not returned to the household, and we were asked to dispatch to find you.
We are all right, yes. But these men attacked us, and I gesture at the corpses.
And he looks at the corpse of the boss who's nearby you with this blade wound, and he looks significantly at that, and then looks at you like, "Did you do that?" Kind of doesn't say it, but
Night Sky protected me.
And he will turn. Night Sky, you are able as ever, and so quiet.
And she sort of smiles at him, and she's like, "Oh, Torrent, thank goodness." And she goes, "I don't know what was going on here, but these two bums should be able to tell us." And she goes, "Should I take him to the magistrate, or do you want to interrogate them?"
I will take them to Magistrate Bao.
Oh, good.
But
she lets go of him immediately and pushes them towards him.
Grabs a hold of them, and he says, "But you must get Jin back to her house now."
That's what we're doing.
And he will proceed, and he will bow to you, Jin, and he will move to take them off away, and a couple of these people will stay here to arrange for the transport of this dead body. They'll probably send some of the officers to come and take it away.
All right.
So turning to Min, let us go.
And yep, she will.
Okay.
She's like, "Are you okay?" And she will stop and like pull out her kerchief to give to you in case you got any blood splatters on you, anything like that, as we get closer to the gate.
Okay, I don't think I do.
Okay.
I was pretty careful.
Always careful. Beautifully outfitted. I mean, I assume that we don't even see any like dust or dirt on you.
Oh no, like they clean these clothes every morning.
And even though it's been kind of like a little bit rattling on the way back, as you get closer to like approaching your gate, you see Ming kind of change her demeanor so that she's walking like it's been casual and very pleasant. And, like there's been no fuss whatsoever.
Okay,
so
yeah.
It all looks like everything's just been just a stroll.
Yeah, taking my lead from that, I have dropped like the act and just, straight-faced, casual stroll.
And at the gate is your brother Steel Wing, the one whose birthday is coming up, and he is standing there with the hands behind his back, like nervous, and he sees you coming, and he comes up fairly angrily to you, and he's like, "Where have you been?"
Brother, we lost track of time. Nightwing and I were attacked in the streets.
Turns. So, Nightwing, I see that you brought my sister into danger, kept her out after hours.
It was not her fault. It was mine.
I was speaking to her.
Brother.
Do you have an explanation, Night Sky?
And she bows. And she goes, "I've brought your sister back to you on this fortuitous evening, the eve of your birthday. I hope that you enjoy your most illustrious day."
You want to try in Hearts and Minds get him to not hold a grudge here?
Yeah, I think so. I want to deflect that all of this is about him.
Okay. Let's have you roll that.
All right. Of course, let's see here. Hearts and Minds. Got plenty of mind. Let's just probably water. I'm probably trying to move around him. So try that.
Okay.
Okay. Calm, cool. Can do it. Oh, I can. So that gives me a 10.
All right. Yeah, you appeal to his ego,
Exactly.
and he's like, "Oh, yes, well."
I mentioned that the stars said that the night is most auspicious, that the next day even more so.
Well, my sister is fine, uninjured, and I can afford to be benevolent. So yes, sister, you should go inside and tell father that you have returned, but do not speak of this attack and that, and I will not make mention of it.
Most generous.
You suggest that I hide this from him, brother.
There is no need for father to be worried about you. If you were to tell him that you were attacked, there would be no chance for you to go out to the festivities in the next few days. You know that.
And I wouldn't miss it.
Yes, absolutely. I want to show you off to all my friends. There will be many eligible young men there.
Of course. Then I go.
Okay. And he will gesture you, and he will look at you and do that bow of, "You can go now, Night Sky." And so let's cut away from that back to the sort of we see the unconscious, wounded, injured, maybe dead mooks on the ground, but then it's almost like we see it like a fighting scene, like a tournament scene here, because you are on this tournament grounds, and we see the two of you standing, apart from each other, that distance that two people challenging each other would stand. Who says the first word?
Tian, are you hurt?
Of course I'm not hurt.
I'm sorry. I was worried. He says, standing there, bleeding and bruised. Thanks for asking.
Lon, I see that you're not okay. Perhaps it is time for you to go.
No, you're right. I've not come here to interfere in your business. I would not have spoken to you if I'd had my choice. But I have business in this town. I have one person to meet, and I promise you, I will leave afterwards.
Who are you looking for?
It's best that you not get involved.
I'm already involved, Jade Saberlon. Perhaps you need help. And I gesture to the mooks and your cuts and bruises. I say, if I can help you, I can get you out of here faster. Who are you looking for?
Fine. Yes. Yes, it'll speed things along, and then you won't ever have to see me again. I do not know them personally. It's someone who calls themselves person who has very bad memory and shouldn't have clicked away from that tab so confidently. Turbulent Stone.
Turbulent Stone. Interesting.
They have a manuscript I would read.
You came all this way for a book?
I came all this way for my past, for answers, for the truth. What is so important to you here in the tournament?
Probably like if there's like a silk nearby, I'll rip it down. And I think I'm just like holding it out and maybe feeling it. And I will tell you, these fine silks don't get made every day. They could fetch a much better price somewhere else than hanging up around here.
Tian, you were made for better than that life.
I mean, I was cut down. I'm good at this life.
Yes, I'm sorry. I spoke out of turn. You're right. It's not my place to. Let me just gather my things. We can find them, and then you can be done with me.
So you can go and gather your pack up. Tian, do you want to do anything while Jade Saber goes and grabs his things together?
Yeah, can I like I'll probably like look over the mooks and see. I don't know if I care that any are alive or conscious, but I can see their clothes, their possessions, and see like
Let's have you do a study move.
Okay. I think I'm gonna roll this one with I'm gonna use my water, it's awareness, it's wisdom. I'll see my connections in town, see if I know who. Or if I recognize them. Oh, it's a 13. It's been so long since I've seen a complete hit.
Wow, holy cow. Yeah, no, I was already expecting, I was working on the hard move because it's you rolling.
Yeah.
So you get 2 hold.
Heck yes. Yeah, then I'm gonna spend one now, and I would like to know, who are these people?
These are essentially acolytes of the dancing sister, and that's probably who you just fought, who is a mercenary, who essentially she trained under the Ice Queen, and she like her mistress trains young women and orphans to become killers, and she's probably not the one in charge, but the dancing sister is probably at someone else's behests and beck and call. Does that sound like a reasonable answer?
Yeah, that's very good.
Do you want to ask another question, or are you set?
I think I'm set. I'm gonna hold on to my hold.
Okay. So you two will gather your things together. I'm assuming the surviving mooks have taken off, and there's just the couple of dead ones that are here, and you two can take off. All right. So we see as you two head off into the city, the camera pans down onto the guy that they were chasing, and we see him kind of look up, realize that you guys have left, and we see him grab something up and take off.
I had 100% genuinely forgotten about him. That's amazing. I love that. No, I would have chosen to forget him if I'd realized.
Perfect. So let's move forward. Let's kind of go, and I want to kind of do a check-in once around to see what people do during the day. Just maybe do a little domestic scene, and then maybe we can figure out how to frame some people together. So, Night Sky Ming, what do you imagine that during all of this sort of chaos and turbulence, and especially after these matters, what is your role here as a member of the Purity Sword Sect?
Well, truth of the matter is that I was doing stuff essentially outside of my hours. Like I woke up excruciatingly early to escort Jin. Okay. So I probably go back and take up my duties as the guard then for the rest of the evening, which is mostly boring, but still there's a set of how do you say, patterns and rhythms to it that she clearly enjoys. There's the other night guards, and because they do this all and they all speak in whispers, there's a sort of very it's a meditative, pleasant, and kind of intimate in some ways. Mm-hmm. As they watch. So I think that would be, if you go to her scenes, that's what it is it's that sort of thing of that after all of this excitement, she goes back to a routine that even though it's about being vigilant, it's still a sort of, it's clearly a comfortable situation for her, unlike all of that.
And there's a great deal of talk then, amongst the Purity Sword guards. They're speculating on what famous people will be here for the tournament. There's people are asking, I wonder if that if Jade Saber Lan will return, if he will show his face here. I mean, this is the kind of thing that might draw him in. And there's talk about, what would the Jade Brush School do? Who would we? I mean, do we need to capture him or no? We don't know. Because while you were able to find the real culprit, people still view Jade Saber with some suspicion.
Mm-hmm. And I think that she doesn't react when they mention his name, but after that, she goes and sort of watches the people going along the streets a little bit closer and maybe a little bit hopeful that she'll see him. Since he is a friend of hers.
Absolutely. You'll probably also hear they're saying that poor Magistrate Bao was once again foiled, that he got there too late after the three-legged hound had stolen the cash box from a merchant, and he was once again foiled, and that he is flustered and angry.
I mean, foolish old man. Though I myself wouldn't mind catching the three-legged dog. That would really show him up.
Absolutely. That would be the best way to do it.
That's a good idea. I have to pry all the details that they have out of him on it so that I can follow up and get the clue that Bao missed for sure.
Absolutely.
Figure out who it is.
So with that in your mind and you looking for Jade Saber on the off chance that he is there, let's cut back. What do we see of your life in the household, Jin, during this day or the next day? What do we see?
It's probably fairly busy with preparations, but it's very separate from the rest of the city. Like, there is no chance of me running into a similar situation here. Mm-hmm. So it's like I go in and it's a different role that I'm playing. Everything is more careful and considered. I probably go and write some really super peaceful poetry with the medallion just on the table, and every so often I'll glance to it and then be called away to handle. I don't know if they put me in charge of it, but give my opinion on where things should go and foods and things.
I mean, you have this other life as kind of a release valve. Do you imagine that she is resentful of any part of this life that she's engaged in, or is it just another half to her?
I think it's just another half,
Okay.
but there is tension, like if she got an assignment for a particular day that she couldn't take because, say, it was her brother's birthday, and she can't like say that.
Yeah,
There might be
they're
some.
like your father comes and assigned you to some things, some preparations in the household, because you're going to have guests coming after the tournament, and so you will need to be here all day making those preparations, and you cannot go and observe the tournament or be there for the celebration of your brother.
Yeah,
What duty
and
are you put to?
in relation
Yeah,
to the
what
birthday
does your
party.
father assign you to do during the day to make preparations?
Okay. There's probably also, like, there are the physical competitions. Then there's also like poetry is the only think of, but like different
Calligraphy.
intellectual competitions as well.
Yes. Scholars have come to demonstrate. People who are preparing for the great exams.
Yeah, or like people bring like particularly well-made like clothes or teapots or baskets, things like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Craftsmen,
Fireworks.
merchants want to show off their craftsmen and how well they do, and do those kinds of competitions. And so you have to make all of those little, probably pretty boring arrangements here. So let me cut away from you as we see that sort of the sort of preparations, but are there any hints that we get on screen about how I mean, are you thinking of trying to skirt this duty to go and watch the tournament?
I mean, my brother promised that I would be able to. So I think, yeah, just doing it as quickly and efficiently as possible.
Okay.
In the hope that I can get it done before.
So you're trying to do this, trying to evade past your father's wishes. He's clearly put you in this busy work here. So let's have you roll overcome. I want to see whether you're able to complete this and not have any complications from it.
Okay. And do I roll?
You get to
whatever
choose.
I feel like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think is appropriate?
This seems like a focus thing, so I'm going to say Earth.
Let's see it.
Four plus 2 is 6.
So even as you're getting done, other of the household servants and things bring more things that are assigned to you, more duties, and you'll begin to realize that this is clearly being engineered by your father to make sure that you do not go to the actual tournament. And your brother has already left. We'll come back to that. So when we come back to Tian and Jade Saber, are we a little ways down the road from that? What do we see with the two of you?
Are we like popping into bookstores?
I think probably we've stopped and Jade Saber's gotten some new clothes to fit in better. But I think maybe I have like a place I'm supposed to meet this person at.
Okay. So we'll cut. Of course, it has to be a tavern, right? With the second floor there open to look down. and you've arrived. Maybe you're about on time, and you've arrived there waiting for Turbulent Stone.
Yeah, I think there's like a private or a side room that we're supposed to meet them in, and I'm wondering if I can use my shadow boxing move here.
Okay, absolutely. Let's go ahead and have you roll.
Yeah, so once per session, you can flash back to some preparation, interference, or negotiation they've done on your behalf, describe it, and roll. And I think as a help here, someone has come in probably just moments before, and when we open the door, they're like, cursed names. Turbulent Stone is like lying face down in a pool of blood with a sword out of his back, and like the manuscript is sitting like under a light in the middle of the table.
All right, let's have you roll.
Let's go with the. It would probably need to be. Well, let's go with awareness flexibility.
Okay.
Might have to react to a bad situation here. That's a 6.
That is a 6.
Which, on a miss, their interference causes more trouble than help. 79, they do so with attention or
throw open the doors.
Yep.
And you will see this figure, sword in their back, maybe the last scrap of a page clutched in their hand, like whatever book they had has been torn away, and just is the last corner of it. You and Tian will look in and see this. And you will hear the sound of a voice behind you coming into the inn, and you will hear the voice of Magistrate Bao coming in and going, we've heard that there was a murder.
God.
I just grab Tian, pull him into the room, and like slide the door shut behind us. You know, rice paper wall sort
Absolutely.
of thing, I imagine.
Yes. Tian, what's your take on this? Magistrate Bao, your nemesis, though a bit bumbling, is here.
Oh God, what's my take on this?
Men, security, everybody outside. Make sure no one gets in or out of the building.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think I just like, Lon, what is happening here? What is going on? Would you pull us into a room with a murdered man in it?
Just so that people didn't see us standing in front of a murdered man. Sorry, I wasn't. This isn't. I think. I don't know what's happening.
Oh,
I was supposed to meet this man. It was. I reached down. I'm gonna give a closer look at that like scrap of paper.
It does look like there was some kind of scroll, old as old paper, some sort of book that has been wrenched from his dying hand there.
And I'll pull that like scrap out and hold it up to Tian. This is what I was here for. Not this. The scroll. The complete thing. Someone's gotten here before us.
Clearly. Can I spend my hold?
Yeah, sure.
I want to introduce a new thing.
Sure.
I want to make the leap that this person was killed by someone related to the Dancing Sisters. And maybe there's like, what I want to add is there's like an open window, like an escape route, basically. And I think I see this because there's maybe like some emblem or something.
How about a script? We described her as having that dark red clothing.
Oh, yeah.
That when we first saw her. So there is that bit when you kind of look up and we see that caught on the edge of the window frame is just a scrap of that same dark red there. And clearly she escaped and came here and killed this person.
Perfect. Yeah, I point that out to Lon, and I say, if who's outside, who I think it is, sounds weird. You better go, Lon.
But no, I couldn't leave you alone here in a room to be suspected of murder. But we both must leave.
I can handle the Magister. You definitely can't be suspected of murder. Remember last year?
Do you want to try and escape then? Or, I mean, and leave Tian behind?
I think he'd have to try and talk me out.
Okay. Let's have you do hearts and minds there.
All right.
I don't want to leave you in another horrible situation that I created somehow, even if I don't understand it.
It seems like that's our whole relationship.
Yeah, basically.
I'm gonna roll with metal.
Okay.
I got an 8. Looking up.
All right. For PCs on a hit, they mark XP if they do as you ask.
He'll do it.
Okay.
He'll go out the window, but I think as he's going, like he sees the same scrap of fabric you did, and he grabs it on the way out.
All right. And I think what we've got set up here then is Jade Saber. We're going to see you encountering Night Sky at the start of next session. We're going to see here our Lon / three-legged hound trying to deal with Magistrate Bao, and we're going to see Jin / Lin trying to figure out how to get to the tournament without raising suspicions or offending her father. Does that seem right? Okay. So we're going to go through and we're going to do end of session then. What we're going to do is I'm going to give everybody an XP for participation just because of that, because we didn't do highlighting of the entanglements. But let me go through. Tian, did we hit either of your entanglements? Did we touch either one?
Yes, I think we definitely hit Jade Saber Lon openly pursuing me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a point for that. Dawning Rose, do we hit either of those, do you think? Did we encounter either one? Give me
We encountered Reveling Torrent, but that didn't really come into play.
Oh, I think he was looking and worried about that, because he was going to get in trouble, if you killed that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And someone, so I think there's a point for that.
Okay. I will take it.
Okay, but we haven't seen Tian yet. We'll get Tian on the table together with you next time. And then Jade Saber Lon.
Yeah, I definitely think I love Tian, but our past has come between us thing.
Okay, we'll get that on the table, so I'll give you a point for that. And Night Sky?
I think that we were definitely spending time with Dawning Rose.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I know this, and I probably saw the sort of eye thing between the two of them, and I'm like, it's going to be trouble.
So you can mark XP. At the start of next session, we'll go through, I'll check and see if everybody's happy with their moves. If they want to change those, you'll have the opportunity to rewrite entanglements if you want to adjust those. And I'll have you highlight one of your 2 entanglements, and that'll be the one that you definitely want to try and see on the table, and then you'll get 3 XP if you can encounter during the course of the session. We'll do that next time. Any questions, anything? Okay. Awesome.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
If we get to the end of a session and you have in fact done that entanglement a bunch, but its nature has kind of changed,
Mm-hmm.
When do we do that switch of the entanglement, and what does that look like? Just because those things eventually this will come out on the table, right?
Right. Generally, we've had. I put that the start of session is when you can rewrite.
Okay, good. Good to know. Thank you. Just wanted to check with that.
Also, just a heads up, I'm actually not going to be here next week. I'm going to be out of town.
That's the session you're missing. Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's actually good because
I can be busy with. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll bring in. I think that's Rich's character, and we'll bring him in and make it super complicated, and then bring you back. But I'm loving Dawning Rose, so I'm super excited to see her on the table. I love the disguised as a man thing. It's so classic, and very very K-drama. Yes, I was just watching Bromance on Netflix the other day, which has that as the big thing. So, all right, so I'm going to stop the recording then.